How's it going, guys? My name is Vinay Kilaire and I'm the writer, director and co-producer of Halloween Breakout, a Halloween fan film. This is episode 2 in a series of videos talking through the behind the scenes of making this film. In this episode, we'll start breaking down each scene, talking through how we shot it, the different meanings behind each shots and the scenes themselves. If you haven't watched the full film yet, I'll have that link down in the description below because of course there will be heavy spoilers. So without further ado, guys, let's just get into it. So we're starting off with a very short and simple scene showing Cal's character Samuel, and he's watching the news, and that tells us that Michael Myers has escaped from Smith's Grove and he's on the run. We shot this in Cal's living room. It was just me and Cal there. We didn't really need anyone else there because it was such a simple, easy scene to shoot and there was no dialogue needed, so yeah. Nothing crazy going on in terms of lighting here. It's just the TV acting as the main key light, and then there's some light coming in from the right, from the kitchen, adding a bit more separation. So this thing was just meant to set up the film as well as show the character of Samuel, who we later learn has been impersonating Michael the whole time and is killed by the real Michael in the end. And that's why we focus more on Samuel in this scene. It's not just a random person watching the news, it's actually someone who's going to play a part in the story. Who Samuel is and why he did what he did is something we would explore in a sequel if we did one, and it would add more context to his character and his background as well as this particular scene right here. I got my little cameo here as a news reporter that we shot straight after we shot this scene, just around the corner from my house, and then I inserted it on the screen afterwards in post. If there was something that I would change about this scene, it would make the lighting a bit moodier because I think to me it just looks a bit flat. I could have also tried to make the scene longer somehow. I did have the idea of having Michael just walking on a road and then he would stop and look up at a sign that said "Welcome to Haddonfield," but time was against us, so maybe we'll do it next time. But all in all, just a quick introduction to the film telling us that Michael had escaped and showing Samuel. But yeah, on to the next scene. So this is the first scene with our main protagonist Lynn, played by Anna Piggott-Reeves, during her self-defense class with her instructor Ruben, played by Ali Wilson. Ali also doubles as Michael, or should I say fake Michael, for all the action scenes due to Ali's background in fight choreography and stonework. And the location you're seeing is Ali's gym that he owned at the time in Northampton. So Ali was gracious enough to let us use this not only for this scene but also the final fight scene as well. So when writing the character of Lynn, I of course wanted her to be my version of Laurie Strode from the first movie, but I didn't want her to be a helpless protagonist. That's why I gave her the backstory of having gone through something traumatic which makes her take self-defense classes. I didn't want it to be so that Michael kills everyone else so easily, but when he gets to the main characters, he just messes up. Like, that's a horror trope that I see a lot and I didn't want that to happen in this film. So I wanted the fight scenes to be proper fight scenes, not in a martial arts kind of way, but in a way that fits Michael's character. So here we're seeing a move that Lynn has been practicing with her instructor, which she then later uses on Michael. When I'm writing a script, I try and write with a purpose, like everything I write has a purpose to it. So I'll drop in things like in the beginning that will come back later on in the story, and this is one of the things you're seeing now. And another thing that comes back is also him talking about how to get out of being strangled like this. Funny thing talking about the strangulation is that not only does it come back later in the final fight, but in the same place and almost the exact same spot where they're standing. And to take it a little further, Ali is the one that's under the mask when that happens. So it's just funny how that worked out that way. And then we get Ruben telling Lynn a happy Halloween. Happy Halloween!
You too.
Which tells us that today is Halloween, in case you didn't know. But it really just sets the stage for the rest of the day and the night. So for gear, I just used the slider to come out from behind his bench as a clean opening shot, and just use the slider again for the wide shot as Lynn does the flip. For the rest of it was just shoulder rig. Talking about the shoulder rig, I have one of the handles that controls the focus, so I'm pulling focus at the same time with the shoulder rig. I tried to just keep it as shoulder cam for the gritty, you know, shaky cam kind of look for the film. Yeah, and I think it turned out great. So that's it for this scene, guys. On to the next one. This scene was quite difficult to shoot because they literally started roadworks on the day of shooting. There were no roadworks the day before, so literally on the first day of shooting, roadworks just appeared, and I knew it was going to be a problem because it was going to cause more traffic and it was going to be a problem for the audio. In this scene, we're introduced to 3 new characters. We have Judd, played by Brandon Ward, we have Beck, played by Poppy Abbott, and we have Mason, played by Ben Davis Kenneth. We were lucky to have shot this so close to home because if you live in the UK, you'll know that our roads aren't very wide, so to have 3 people walking side by side, we needed that wide space. To shoot this, I used my DJI RS4 Pro gimbal to get the smooth walking shot. I also used it with a gimbal support vest to counteract the vertical movement. It was my first time using a vest like this and I found it a bit finicky. I think I could have made do without it, but because it was such a heavier setup than what I was used to, I decided to just keep it on. And for the most part, it did the job, apart from a few micro jitters that I had to fix later in post. For focusing, I rigged the focus motor onto the gimbal so that I could use the finger wheel to pull focus. But we filmed this at a higher f-stop and just tried to keep the same distance from the actors while walking. I did have my first AC Matthew Hobson next to me with an external monitor, making sure that the take turned out alright and the focus was okay. I would have liked to have filmed this at a lower f-stop so that you could get more shallow depth of field and made it look better, but I didn't have an ND filter on me, so if I did choose to shoot it at a lower f-stop, the image would have been too bright. And we were filming this during the brightest part of the day. As we're walking, our set assistant James Swain was doing a great job of making sure I didn't walk into anything, and of course our sound guy Kieran Swan was following us as well. Now, because there was a lot of traffic, like I said before, the audio could not be saved and we didn't have any lav mics to put onto the actors, so what I ended up doing is have everyone do ADR afterwards and then I could dub it over in post. So yeah, lesson learned, always have 2 sources of audio if you are able to. So this is the first time we're seeing one of our characters become aware of Michael's presence. Whenever you see this POV looking at our characters, it's the real Michael Myers watching them, and when he's around, our characters get the strange feeling of being watched. And I knew during the planning and the writing phase that this is how we're going to reveal that the Michael who we thought was Michael wasn't Michael. So that was the first and only scene that we shot outside during the daytime. On to the next scene. This was a fun scene to shoot, which we shot all in one day, and I was really happy with how this scene turned out. In this scene we have Gary, played by Fahad Salman, having a small gathering with his friends Rachel and Paul, played by Julia Corti and David Chappell. These 3 actors were kind enough to come all the way from London for the day just to shoot this scene, and they were so great to work with on the day. Now, the character of Gary is a fanatic when it comes to serial killers and supernatural phenomenon of the like, and he collects items that entice him. And as we see in this scene, that includes Michael Myers' mask that he wore during the events of the 1978 movie. Here we are shooting in my house, which we actually used twice during filming, once for this scene and once for the long take, which is the scene that takes place after this one. So for this scene we had to take out all the furniture and make it look like a different room than it was going to be. We made it look like there were these big floor lamps lighting up the room when really it was our own lights in the corners. I really do like the look of this scene. It might be my favorite looking scene out of the whole film. So we're starting out this scene focusing on the eyes of the mask, which is something I really wanted to focus on in this film. What I wanted to portray was that the eyes of the mask were another set of Michael's eyes in a way. Because Michael has spent time wearing the mask while committing so many murders, it's become a part of him spiritually. So whenever you see the eyes of the mask up close, a mask that was worn while committing such acts of horror, that same horror will reflect back to you. And again, this thing about the eyes comes back in a later scene. Like we see in the previous scene, when Michael has his eyes on the characters, they can sense him watching them. It's the same darkness they feel as they do when they're looking into the eyes of the mask. And here we see Michael claim his first victims of the film as he comes for the mask. And yes, I decided to give Michael gloves, because Ali and Cal, the 2 people playing fake Michael, have different skin colors. So to hide that, I just gave him gloves. But it's okay, because this isn't the real Michael, as we learn later on. The real Michael doesn't wear gloves. Now, of course, when you're seeing this knife, you'll know that this is the knife that will become Michael's for the rest of the film. So this part is all about punishment for Gary for keeping the mask in this glass case. Putting him face to face with the mask in this way shows that Michael is the one that's about to kill him. Even though it's not really him, it's the spirit of Michael that kills him. And during this scene, the mask is staring at him, kind of gloating in a way and telling Gary how arrogant he was to keep the mask in his home like this. So to shoot the scene, we had to do it in a way that wouldn't hurt our actor Fahad, obviously, because we were using a real glass case with sharp edges. So that's why when planning this, I had to be clever about how I went about shooting this. So I told Fahad that these are basically going to be close-up shots, and to basically put his hand like this in front of his face. So let's say the camera was here shooting this way and only getting like this bit in the foreground, which was enough for me. So he would do that, and then let's say here's the box. He would hit the box like this as he's going down, just so that he doesn't hurt his face, of course. It looks weird if you're looking at it, but on camera, obviously you don't see that. And at the same time as the hits, I would hit the table that was holding the glass case so that it made it look like he was hitting it really hard. And honestly, it turned out exactly how I expected it to be. I like the visual of the blood coming down across the mask. This was something that I thought of beforehand, and I thought of it as the mask watching him get killed as it's freed. Also, in between takes, our SFX makeup artist Alice Montgomery would apply progressive makeup to Fahad's face, adding blood, gashes and pieces of glass stuck to his face. And lastly, I added these glass cracks in post using After Effects and just added some sound effects to go with it. Very simple. Now we see the mask is free from its prison and our Michael can start his killing spree for this Halloween. So that does it for this episode, going into the behind the scenes of Halloween Breakout. Hopefully this gave you guys a bit more understanding of the meaning of each scene and the thought that went behind using different shots. I'll continue breaking down the movie in the next episode, so if you don't want to miss that, please do subscribe. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and I will catch you guys in the next one.